First of all, let me just explain what I have seen as the financial industry's typical budget process. So, just stressed out about money. Maybe they're living paycheck to paycheck. Maybe they're not getting by. What you do in that situation, you just naturally will go to your expenses and you'll cut out the things that you can cut out, just cut out the fat. But then if you're still stressed, this is where people start to reach out to the financial professional world and say, hey, I need some help. They come to people like me or financial coaches or counselors or advisors. And what do we do? So the first thing I usually do when people say, hey, I'm stressed about my cash flow is I grab a budget worksheet, we look at their expenses, and then we look for places to cut costs. So if you look at this typical process here, they've cut costs, they've been stressed, they go to a professional, they try to cut costs. It's like always going back to this. And oftentimes, by the time a financial professional comes into play, the costs have already been really addressed. And in fact, sometimes there can be no meat left on the bone. It can actually be really difficult to find additional cost cutting. So one of the questions is, why do we focus so much on cost cutting? Why, for me as a professional, why have I gone to that? Why is that my go-to strategy in most cases? I have a few theories about this, but one, I have this Sally Mae budget worksheet that I have up here. It's a free PDF online. You can certainly use it. I've used it a lot. It's really actually a very good one, but here's a good example of why I think we focus on it. I've circled here in green the area that has to do with income. And then in red is all of the items that have to do with expenses. And when you look at this, 90% of the budget worksheet is identifying expenses. So I think it's really easy for us to say, hey, look at all these line items of expenses. Let's go through and evaluate each one. And there's really only one, maybe two lines for incomes. We look at that and sometimes we gloss over it and say, hey, maybe we can't do anything. It's totally inelastic, but there's all this content that we can look at from the expense side. The other thing is I truly believe we're all practitioners in cost cutting. If you've ever earned money and spent money, you've gotten your credit card bill, your invoices, you've looked at your wallet, whatever it is. We've all gone through the process of, can I spend less on this? Is that something I can do without? Can I get this cheaper? We've all gone through the process. So it's really easy to convey that and share that because we are practitioners on it. The other problem is income related items, income related topics are really scattered. They vary a ton. Sometimes the information is really new. Sometimes it's very old. Sometimes it's outdated. It's really hard to pull in a cohesive income discussion. And so it's really easy to talk about expenses, and it can be really confusing or laborious for us to bring in income related topics. That's why I think we just naturally, and certainly for me, I just naturally gravitate to reviewing expenses. Now,